We are going to talk about just for a minute. When it comes to diversity and inclusion, this can be a real trigger for some people. And I'm not going to say what kind of people, but let's just say the people that it doesn't benefit tend to kind of sort of have a reaction to this. And, not too long ago, Hollywood, or better yet, the Academy, okay, the Motion Pictures Academy, has come out, and they're the people that do the Oscars. They came out with some new diversity and inclusion rules. Why? Because, Oscars so white. Why did Oscars so white trend? Why was that a thing? Well, mainly because the people that were voting in the body for the Oscars of what best picture, best actress, best this and that, the people that were doing the voting were predominantly like damn near 90% old white men. Remember that. Old white men, okay, were the vast majority of people that were voting for years. It's one of the reasons why out of all the movies, out of all the decades that you've had the Oscars, out of all the fantastic actors and movies and stuff, you can name on less than two hands how many have been black when it comes to best actor or best actress. Now they'll do it in a little supporting roles and stuff, but like the best, you can count on less than two hands. How many people have actually won and were black. And that's just for black folks. We're not even talking about other minorities and other underrepresented groups. So the Academy has come through with some new rules on how this works. So, I'm not going to play the full thing, but I want y'all to just listen to just one person who had some thoughts on this. So before we get in, let's go ahead and roll this out. So, like I said, I was watching this thing and it was like Variety that had basically a compilation. They were having a little round table of different actors and actresses and people who were just kind of commenting on these new rules. And this was years ago, right? So you had Idris Elba, David Aloyo, you had like all these like white, actresses and stuff like that. A good mix of people that was all like, yo, good on the Hollywood Association. This is good stuff. This works. Let's see how this goes. Again, I'm not going to play the full thing. A lot of people, black, white, whatever, female, all of that, they were all good with it. But I want y'all to notice who has been against it. And here go one example right here.
I don't think it's a good idea, and I'll tell you why. Because to me, in the end, it's about exclusion, which is discrimination. I mean, just a recent example, there was a movie that I thought was excellent last year, a movie called 1917.
Great movie.
That would not be eligible under these
What?
rules. I applaud the sentiment behind it and the idea behind it. It solves some problems, but it adds new problems that are not necessary. I don't think the root of exclusion and discrimination is the way to go.
Huh. Interesting. Remember what I told y'all, that look at who's against the rules. Okay? I want y'all to remember that. And I want you to remember what he said too. He believes that this is exclusionary in some way. Keep in mind, the rules are meant to include more people from diverse backgrounds, but he believes and hears that this is exclusionary. Viggo Mortensen, in case y'all didn't know, that was the guy who played Lord of the Rings. He was like the main guy in there. And he was in some other good movies too. I can't think of him right now, but he was in Lord of the Rings. That was like the main thing. Aragon. He was Aragon in Lord of the Rings. But now we get to the biggest problem of them all right now. I don't know if y'all ever seen Jaws. Oh yeah, he was also in Green Book too. Green Book, yeah. And he's good. Listen, Viggo's a great actor. Great actor. Terrible take, but great actor. Y'all ever seen Jaws? If you have, you've probably heard of Richard Dreyfuss. Richard Dreyfuss is about to add his name to this list of nonsense. And Richard Dreyfuss right now says that the new rules for the Oscars, they make him vomit. They make him vomit. That's how bad these rules are for Richard Dreyfuss. Now, I am going to take a time to respond to Richard Dreyfuss because he said a whole lot here. And I think that it's actually kind of helpful not to put Richard Dreyfuss down, but hopefully this could be a teaching moment for other people that think what he's about to say actually makes sense. Because unfortunately, we are in a society, we're in a culture where people think that talking points make sense without actually critically thinking about what they actually mean or having necessary context. So we're going to have a moment to talk about Richard Dreyfuss real quick because he decided to put his foot in his mouth and make some comments here that, for the love of me, I have no idea why, but we're going to talk about it. Let's go ahead and listen to what this guy said. Now, remember what I said now. Remember who has a problem with these things, okay? Let's listen.
2024 films will be required to meet new inclusion standards to be eligible for the Academy Awards for Best Picture. They'll have to have a certain percentage of actors or crew from underrepresented racial and ethnic groups.
Look at his face.
What do you think of these new inclusion standards for films?
Look at his face.
They make me vomit.
Ooh.
Why?
Because this is an art form. It's also a form of commerce, and it makes money, but it's an art.
Mm-hmm.
And no one should be telling me as an artist that I have to give in to the latest, most current idea of what morality is. And what are we risking? Are we really risking hurting people's feelings? You can't legislate that. And you have to let life be life.
Time out. Let's go to, I'm going to go down to his level real quick. So he said that you can't legislate morality. Sir, yes, we do. We legislate morality all the time, right? You can't steal things. That's legislating morality. It's wrong to steal. Let me get a little lower for him. You cannot steal things, okay? You cannot kill people because it's wrong. That's against the law, okay? I know you're a civics, grad and all that. That's common. So yes, we can legislate morality. Now, here's the other thing that he said, that why can't we just let life be life? You know why? Because sometimes life sucks. Sometimes life is evil. You know why? Because there was a thing called slavery for a while. And you know what happened? That was life in the United States until we had to legislate that it was not anymore. So yes, we do need to legislate life. That is how we get through life. And art has also been problematic in that case. There was a little movie called Birth of a Nation. Let me get a little lower. I'm sorry. Okay. Do you recall Birth of a Nation? The movie that was art and it transformed the entire cinematic universe, right? It was such a cinematic art form in itself and a revolution. It also propagated and uplifted the KKK in the United States. It was screened in the White House. So yes, sir, we do need to legislate morality, and sometimes we gotta legislate art too. Because you know what? If somebody made a movie that went around elevating the rise of old white men, I'm pretty sure you might have a problem with that. Would you not? You're just gonna be like, oh, it's just a movie and I just think it's art and it's all good while they knocking at your door with a burning cross on your lawn. Would you be okay with that, sir? Get a little okay. I can't see. I was getting dizzy. Let's go on. I was getting dizzy. I'm sorry. Y'all not gonna play? What's happening?
And I'm sorry, I don't think that there's a minority or a majority in the country that has to be catered to like that.
Excuse me. He said there ain't no minority or majority that need to be catered to like that. Sir, that's cap. Minorities don't get represented, but you don't think they should be catered to. Okay. Who do you think going against diversity and inclusion caters to? The people that are privileged by it. So, sir, that is cap. That is cap. That is cap. Okay. You don't think that the majority of, I don't know, old white men benefit from that? Cap. You don't think that that caters to that by objecting to diversity and inclusion? Cap. Sir, what are you talking about? Cap and cap. Sir, miss me with all that. What do you mean? Okay. Let's keep going.
You know, Laurence Olivier was the last white actor to play Othello. And he did it in 1965. And he did it in blackface. And he played a black man brilliantly. Am I being told that I will never have a chance to play a black man?
Huh! Oh! What? What? Hold on, we got to run that back. He didn't say that. He didn't say that. He didn't say that.
Brilliantly.
He didn't say that.
Am I?
Hold on. You didn't say that. You did not say that.
Did it in 1965.
Hold on. Let me get. You didn't say this.
That has to be catered to like that. You know, Laurence Olivier was the last white actor to play Othello. And he did it in 1965. And he did it in blackface. And he played a black man brilliantly. Am I being told that I will never have a chance to play a black man?
Where do I start? Where do I start? Where do I start? Okay. First of all, blackface is not okay. Sir, get off my screen for a second. Get off my screen. Get off my screen. Blackface, for anybody that's not black, for anybody that's not from the United States. Okay, so I'm talking to you right now. Blackface has historically been nothing but a negative caricature of black people. Okay, in other words, when black people were not even allowed to play themselves on screen, white actors would go and put black makeup on in a mocking fashion, usually, which would mock our features, our big lips, or our big wide noses, or whatever, and basically dehumanize and perpetuate the dehumanization of black people. That is one of the vestiges of slavery and discrimination in this country. So that right there is why it's problematic. Blackface was so bad that when black people, black actors were even able to be actors, when they were actually able to portray themselves, they were still forced to put even darker makeup on themselves to still make fun of themselves. So I need you to understand how dehumanizing it has always been historically when it comes to blackface. There's nothing good about blackface. Now, some people might say, huh, but what about Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder? Time out, back up, hold on. You don't understand satire. Robert Downey played a white, arrogant actor who thought that putting on blackface was a good way to get an extra type of experience or whatever. In other words, they were making fun of people like with Richard Dreyfuss. He was making fun of that. That was like a next level joke. That was not the same thing as putting on blackface and acting like black people, however you think they act, in a mocking type of fashion. He was making fun of the people that think nothing's wrong with blackface. So Robert Downey Jr. literally found the tiniest loophole, brilliantly, by the way, to make that work. He was a dude pretending to be another dude that was pretending to be the dude. Like that, it was brilliant. But that was the one time he got away with it. By the way, Mr. Dreyfuss, you are also wrong that Laurence Olivier was not the last white man to play a black character, because you also had Sir Patrick Stewart, who played Othello. And here's the thing. Othello, in case you know, was a Moor and he was a black man and all that. And, you know, the race and all that stuff, that was an issue in the story. So you know what they did? He chose not to put on blackface. And the rest of the cast and crew were people of color. They inverted it. That's art. Art is not, I need to play a black man, and if I can't play a black man, that's not true art. No, art is finding a way to communicate the themes or the story in multiple different ways. So if he could do it, why couldn't you figure out another loophole? Now, let me also tell you that, first of all, I got a question. Richard Dreyfuss, what black character you want to play? What? This man literally said, you telling me I can't play a black character? What black character you want to play? Who you finna be? Shaft? You finna play Action Jackson? Who are you trying to be out there in them streets? You gonna be Blade? You gonna be Media Man? Who you want to be the last up? What? You want to be Bruce Leroy? You want to have the juice now? Who are you trying to play that you just itching to be a black man? Make it make sense. This is what people talk about when they say colonizer mindsets. This is what that is. Why can't you just let people of whatever ethnicity or whatever, if they can do something, why you got to feel like you have to have that? You can't be comfortable just playing roles that work for you. Why do you feel like you have to own that lane? That's a problematic colonizer mentality. Let me also, you know what? No, because I didn't even tell y'all this first. He's sitting here talking about ain't nobody about to let him play a black man. Well, whatever. And even Viggo Mortensen earlier was saying that a movie like 1917 wouldn't actually be accepted. You know, let me kind of clarify what these rules actually mean. Keep in mind, these are rules made by the Academy of Motion Pictures, right? So these are the movies. These rules pertain only to things that will be eligible to win Best Picture at the award show. Ain't nobody stopping nobody from making no movies. I don't know how much clearer that can be. And here are the rules. I'm not going to go through every single one, but here are the general gist of the rules. And this is literally just to qualify for Best Picture. It says your movie must meet just only 2 out of 4 standards. On screen, you need to have minorities. That's all. And let me be very clear. The rules here are so low. You know what it is? A minority for them? Any person of color, any women, including white women, and any LGBTQ people, again, including if they're white, and if you are, handicapped, disabled, etc. That's what they mean by underrepresented group. If you fall under any one of those categories, that's all they're saying we want you to do in your movie to qualify for Best Picture. Okay? Not any old movie anytime, just if you want to qualify. So all they said is when this comes to somebody on screen, we just want the lead character or maybe the supporting character to be from one of these underrepresented groups. Okay? At least. Then the team. That's the crew. That's the people behind the camera. At least have a couple people behind the camera, maybe the writer, director, producer. Just have somebody, the dude that hold up the sound, the key grip, the guy that gets the coffee. Just have somebody back there be from one of these underrepresented groups. Then access. You don't want to do them other two? Fine. At least have somebody from the distribution or financing company or the studio as a paid apprentice or an internship. Just have an intern that's from the underrepresented group, or from the marketing team, have a couple people on the marketing side be part of those underrepresented groups. All you need to do is meet 2 out of 4 of any of those things. In other words, you can have an all-white cast, you can have an all-white crew, but just have somebody on the marketing division and have an intern, and you win. That's it. That's it. So in other words, you could be as racist as you want, but at least sprinkle in a couple white women in there. At least sprinkle in somebody that got a handy. Even if you don't like women, you want an all-white, all-male cast and crew. Sprinkle in a couple people that happen to be LGBTQ. Oh man, you don't like them either. Okay, you're gonna have you want straight men, straight people on the side, on in front, behind the camera. Just have somebody with a disability, somebody with a hearing aid or something. That's all the rules ask for. But this man over here talking about don't nobody want to let me be black man. So one of the things that I've been thinking about is Richard Dreyfuss is either ignorant to these rules, or he is racist, or he's a combination of both. Because I'm not understanding what his issue is. Even Vigo sounded real ignorant to what the rules actually meant, because 1917 would not be disqualified because there were women on the set. There were women, behind this crew and stuff like that. It would have qualified. Matter of fact, it won Best Cinematography. So the diversity and inclusion rules are not hurting nobody. They are not preventing white men from doing anything. The only thing they're preventing is preventing somebody from making a movie that has only straight, white, able-bodied men on both sides of the camera. That's it. When I tell you that is such an incredibly low bar, like it honestly kind of feels as though the Academy just said, like, yo, we just gonna have some rules on the books. Because it doesn't really feel like this is gonna be like a major thing. It's not like in the NFL where they have the Rooney Rule and they say, like, oh, well, you at least need to interview a black person or somebody minority. You at least need to interview them for a head coaching job, even though we gonna bypass that and still hire only white coaches. So I don't know what Richard Dreyfuss is talking about. I think he has some more to say though, because he wild like that apparently. So let's.
Is
hear
someone
him
else
out.
being told that if they're not Jewish, they shouldn't play the Merchant of Venice? Are we crazy?
You
Do
are.
we not know that art is art? This is so patronizing. It's so thoughtless and treating people like children.
Do you think there's a
need to be.
difference between the question of representation and who is allowed to represent other groups? For example, as you said, somebody representing the Merchant of Venice. And the case of blackface explicitly in this country, given the history of slavery and the sensitivities around Black racism. Do you think there's a difference between those?
There shouldn't be.
Why?
Because it's patronizing. Because it
Dang, I really thought he was going to say something smart. You're right. There shouldn't be a difference, but there is. Why? Because history, context, society, culture, all of these things. It shouldn't be if we lived in a perfect world, but we don't. And because we don't live in a perfect world, representation does matter. We wouldn't even have to say that if discrimination didn't happen in the first place. We wouldn't have to sit here and say, hey, you know what? Telling a Black story probably would be better if it came from Black voices. We wouldn't have to do that if Black voices weren't excluded for so long. This is why diversity and inclusion is important, because we're not going to sit here and act like people didn't have decades of straight up discrimination. And for some of y'all that like to live in a vacuum and like to think, well, now it's fine, we could just start all over. That's not how it works. You don't do 50, 60, 70, 100 years of terrible practices and think that everything magically just fixes itself overnight. You're going to have to eat some of them decades, if not more, of rectifying the actions. So yes, this is why we need to legislate morality, because morality has been corrupted in society and in this industry for decades.
says that we're so fragile that we can't have our feelings hurt.
But yeah,
we have to anticipate having our feelings hurt, our children's feelings. We don't know how to stand up and bop the bully in the face.
Do you think as we tell stories about our past, that there is a fuller version of our history that is perhaps more inclusive to the diversity of the country now? Or
in other words, because she's too scary to ask this, is it possible that we could get a more accurate and more full picture of history and art if it actually came from diverse voices? I don't know why she tiptoeing around this. I don't know why she acting like she got to be all nice about this. Just say it. Like, don't you think it'd be a little bit more authentic if Hispanic people told Hispanic history? Don't you think it'd be a little more authentic if Jewish people told Jewish stories? Don't you think it'd be a little bit more authentic if people from LGBTQ, society or of the community, if they told their stories? Don't you think that would actually work? But nah, the white guy got to play a Black character because, art.
I once worked for a guy who was making a film about the gangsters of the 30s. And I said, why did you change this incident and that incident from the reality because the reality was so much more interesting than what you created. And by changing it, you made it simple and smaller. And I totally believe that you can make a great film or a great painting or a great opera out of the truth first.
So it's truthful to have a white person be in blackface? What are you talking? I'm done. No, I don't even care. He has more. I don't. First of all, Richard Dreyfuss is not even relevant. I'm sorry for even wasting y'all time with this. Like, what do y'all think about Richard Dreyfuss, doofus, whatever, and his comments? But more importantly, what do y'all think about the Hollywood inclusion and diversity rules? Do you think that they're important? Do you think they're exclusionary? Do they make you vomit? Whatever. And let me know what y'all think Richard Dreyfuss, who he trying to play. What's the black? I still want to know what is the black character that he has to play that it's got him all just itching and he can't sleep. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. This was just a segment of one of my live chats, and if you're interested in joining in on the next one, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications for more. I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.